Here we go.
Hey everybody, how is everybody doing this evening? It is a great night. Tonight I'm by myself, but you know what? It is still going to be a good night. I do not know why the video was not showing the second it came on, but it's now showing, so we are good. How has everybody's week been? I mean, it's been a good long time since we've been able to do a DIY a DIY with Professor Minuteman, but here's the thing. Tonight, we've actually got a little bit of a topic because I get asked things all the time by people, and one of the biggest things that people will call me out and say, hey, you have an amazing palate. That is something that a lot of people actually call me out for, is having an amazing palate. And, you know, it's actually not that hard to do. And, I mean, in all honesty, anybody can build their palate to an amazing palate. You just have a little bit of work you have to do for yourself. And that's all it is. I mean, it takes a little bit of work, a little bit of getting used to the flavors, but most of all, it takes a brain to be able to really spin a recipe to be able to fit what you are looking for. And, well, first off, you have to know the type of liquid you're going for. Everybody has that liquid that is their go-to. I mean, you know, I see we've got 3, you know, I'd love to hear what your all's all-day vapes are. I know personally when I first started, my all-day vape was, of course, what a lot of people's is, which is a nice strawberries and cream. I mean, that is something that a lot of people start off with, and that is something that actually is one of the best in the world. I've done one actually on here that matches very close to what was originally my all-day vape before I started DIYing. And I mean, the thing is, you know, I need to zoom this camera out. This is killing me. This is like up in my face. Well, David, you know, I'm actually going to do something tonight pretty close to that, but not dragon fruit. I'm actually going to do a strawberry lemonade tonight. I'm going to modify my original strawberry lemonade because a lot of people would not like my original strawberry lemonade, and there's a good reason. It's almost a 50-50. And, you know, there's some flavors that you have to learn how to work with them. And that's something a lot of people don't understand. And Donnie, just so you know, I ain't showing that over the chat. I ain't having that type of crap. But, I mean, the whole thing is you have to learn exactly what you're going to do. I need to go ahead and pull up my e-liquid recipes so that I can go ahead. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but you know what? No, I'm going to leave the camera the way it is. But yeah, I mean, dragon fruit actually sounds like a good one because dragon fruit would pair well with the tartness of the lemonade. Just the only thing I would worry about is the dragon fruit would not be sweet enough because the lemonade has such a tardiness to it that unless you're going for that really tart lemonade, the dragon fruit would not be able to balance out the tardiness. And that's what a lot of people really don't like out of lemonades, is that a lot of times they will say they're too tart. And I can understand that. I really can. But I'm right now trying to go through and find it. It was actually one of the first ones I ever made. So I have to go all the way to the back of mine just to find it. There we go. Yeah, because like right now it's a 4457. Which I'll tell you right now, I know 95% of you would not like one that was that thin. So I'm going to change it up just a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit. Just enough to be able to make it worth it. 10, and let's make that to... Let's make the strawberries to a 7. And make the toasted marshmallow to a 5. Let's see what that brings it to. Okay. A 71.29. That is much better when it comes to actual being able to have someone to like it. When it's not just me. I mean, when it's me, I don't mind a good 50-50. But I am going to tell you guys that the recipe I'm going to share tonight, now here's the keys. There's a few things that you have to know about this recipe. The lemonade that I use does have a tendency to separate. You know, you'll see some of them on the bottom, then you'll see some flavors on the top. You have to shake that every single time you vape it. If you do not, you will lose your lemonade, and at the end, you will get a terrible flavor. And this was actually one of the first ones that I ever made, like I had said earlier. So this is one that will be a good one to share. This will be a good one that everybody will probably be able to make. Cowboy, it was... If you would have stuck around in that video, if you noticed, I cut it off real fast. And that was because it was hard to keep a straight face. Yesterday's video was a April Fool's joke. I'm not going anywhere. That's why at the end, right after my little clip, boom, it came up and I told everybody it was a joke. Do you really think after spending $400 on this channel with my income tax that I would go and just completely quit the channel? Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Yeah, you know, that's true too. You know, there's nothing wrong with a 50-50. But a lot of people just do not like 50-50. So I'm trying to tailor this to everybody's taste buds, not just mine, and I'm going to show you how, when I first made this, I tailored these flavors. Now, when you're building, the way I always build a recipe, I look at a recipe in multiple fashions. First off, let me grab all the flavors so that I can show you how I do this. Okay, I'll go ahead and pop it up here so that everybody can see it. Okay, that way, if you want to actually copy this, you are more than welcome. This is, like I said, one that is not one of my premiums, but this is pretty darn close. A little bit of Sweet Strawberry by Capella. A little bit of Strawberry Ripe by TFA. A little bit of Toasted Marshmallow by TFA. Now to find my lemonade, which is one that is very hard to find. But I gotta find it first. That's the key. I'll be obviously, as you can tell, I did not prep before tonight because, you know, heck, it's a DIY show. Why prep before? Peppermint, cranberry, pineapple. Whiskey. Bavarian cream, root beer. Now, I know oh, there it is. Lemonade Natural. This is one of the ones that... This is the one that has the tendency to separate. I will tell you, you know, like I said, this will have a high tendency to separate. So... But I'm going to go ahead and flip back over to this screen so I can go back over to the live dashboard. And if anybody wants to see that again, I'm more than happy to pull it back up for you. Let me grab a bottle and we'll be ready to pour. Now, when I first bought these, this is where we're getting into building your palate. To make it an amazing palate. To be able to take any liquid, the second you touch that flavor, to be able to get at least close to what you will want in an e-liquid. Because, you know, the thing is, when we're building liquids, anyone like Jerry or David, any of you that have been making e-liquid for a while knows that especially when you first start, what is the biggest hang-up when you first start? I want to see what you guys say. What do you think is the biggest hang-up when you first start DIY? And hey, Jerry, good to see you tonight. But what is the biggest hang-up that turns a lot of people off? And what was the biggest thing that you found when you first started? I know what it was with a lot of people that I talked to. And I know, you know, some flavors, this happened with me multiple times with some flavors. Most flavors, it didn't happen. But there was that occasional flavor that this would happen. Any takers on trying to figure out what I'm thinking? Okay. Since nobody's answering, I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What happens with a lot of... Well, yeah, people do think it costs a lot. And the initial... It does cost a lot, but there's something a little more that a lot of people have issues with. And that's when you first start, you go out, you buy all these flavors, and a lot of people buy steeping too long. That's something that a lot of people will do, but a lot of people buy 10 milliliter bottles, make 60, 100 ml bottles at a time, and they just buy enough flavoring to make one time. And the problem is, sometimes, you know, sometimes you can't get that liquid perfect that first try. Sometimes you gotta tweak one or two of the flavors just a tad. Or, you know, you gotta add just a little more, subtract just a little bit. But when you make that liquid, for one, you want to hit it too soon. You know, certain flavors you do want to steep. Yeah, Jerry, you know, that's the thing. When I buy flavors, I buy no smaller than 60 mils. Because I always know that when I go and I'm starting to work with it, I can play with it. And even 30 is pushing it. Because you only get a couple of creations out of that one bottle. And then you're going and buying brand new ones. I mean, in all honesty, when you look at TFA... Now, Capella, I can understand buying 30 milliliter bottles. Flavora, I can understand 30 ml bottles. But when it's, you know, companies like Flavor West, TFA, these are already cheap enough. And there's not that much of a price difference between the 30 and the 60. Why not just pay that little bit extra, get you double the amount of flavor, and be able to play a little more with it? But when people get it on that first try, they just stop trying. Or when people get frustrated, a lot of times they don't go out and actually try to see what's going on. Try to improve themselves by going out and, you know, watching this channel. Or going out and watching Fresh 03. You know, a lot of people don't try to improve themselves when it comes to this stuff. So, you know what? Let's flip back over to the desktop and we'll get back to it. Okay. Now, as you see, once again, Ronald's Strawberry Lemonade. And you notice, and this was my V2. So this was a second iteration of this. You know, the first one, I had everything pretty close. And then I had twisted it a little bit. And then this one, I had the flavors perfect. But I wanted to get something that would be 70-30. Something closer to what everybody vapes. And that's the reason I tweaked everything just a little bit. So this one was just modified again today. But it's pretty much stayed the same exact since this date on July 2nd. So, of course, we're going scale because that's, for me, I consider that the best way. You know what? No, you know what? I'm not going to worry about the camera. But, I mean, do you guys agree that that's always a hang-up for some people? I know some people have told me that all the time. That, you know, why should they do it when all that happens is they keep going through liquid. And, you know, they just don't get it right and they don't want to keep trying. And, you know, that's just one of the hiccups of DIYing. Exactly, David. You know, what I do also, and this is a tip I tell everybody, take your new flavors, shake them up good. Now, they're not going to taste exactly like they will in your liquid. But, like with this lemonade, to know how tarty it is, I take just a little bit of a slather. You see how that's just barely on my finger? Now with this, I can taste that lemon. That it's a real natural, you can almost taste the actual pulp in the lemon, as well as a little bit of that white outer portion. So, you know, you can taste that, and it tastes just like you took that lemon, put it on the actual squeezer, and squeeze the lemon juice out of that lemon. So it's got that real life flavor to it. So you know you have to do a little work to it to take away that real deep tardiness. So we're going to put 12 grams of this lemonade in here. And as I've said before, if at first you don't succeed, try again. The only way you learn... I do like fresh lemons. I know you're trying to be a total dick, Donnie, but I do like fresh lemonade. Okay. Then Strawberry Ripe is getting 8.4. Again, use a different finger. And you can taste, now with the Strawberry Ripe, when you taste that, it's to where the strawberry is right before it starts going bad. Yeah, I do make my stuff high percentages. And the reason I do that is I prefer a very strong flavor. I tell people, you know, you can take this recipe. If you want to make it, say, a 85, just take everything, knock it down in half. Do 5% of the lemonade, and then 3.5% of each strawberry, and 2.5% toasted marshmallow. If you know, because this is the thing, everything is different for everybody. I prefer a very strong flavor, and a lot of times people, you know, we've gotten away from the strong flavor in a lot of liquids. I get a lot of these liquids from Vape Box. I've bought liquids at stores. I've not really found any that has that strong flavor of the OG liquids like Smiley had. Smiley had some very strong flavors, strong in-your-face flavors. That's what I've always loved. And you cannot find that anymore. And that's kind of the way that I moved into doing this, is that I always make my flavors strong enough they could stand. And, you know, the thing is, everybody's different. And that's the beauty, like I said, of DIY. You know, I can make mine strong. You can make yours weaker. It's what you prefer. Which actually, next pay, I gotta buy some more Capella. Well, you know, fresh is good, but everybody has their own style. And that's why, you know, like with me, I was lucky that when I first started, I talked with Fresh, I talked with, at the time, Juicy Jones, I talked with, of course, Steve from Smiley E-Liquid, I talked with the gentleman from Homebrewed Vapes. I mean, I talked to a lot of e-liquid makers at home, as well as manufacturers of current liquids. And I racked their brain as to, you know, what is the best method to make liquids. And the biggest thing they could ever say was, always look at it, taste it, and figure out where you would want it. That's why I tell you, the way to build that palate is just taste it in the concentrate. You got to remember, it's going to be diluted down, but if you taste it in that concentrated form, you will understand where that flavor is going when it dies down. And that's why my palate, I taste stuff ahead of time, and I'm able to actually understand where that flavor is going. I'm able to understand what that flavor needs in order to assist it in just bumping up one or two notches. It's very simple to do that kind of stuff. And lastly, now this is one that Jay and Fresh told me about. To add just a little bit of sweetening to it, add a little bit of toasted marshmallow. As you see, I buy a huge bottle of this whenever I buy it. And it lasts me a while because, like, right now I'm only using 6 grams or 6 milliliters. So, I mean, I'm not using that much. Okay. You know, sometimes too much flavor can be an overkill, and it can mute the flavor sometimes, but I've never found a time that figuring out where the flavors stand, that you can't get a rough estimate as to how much would be too much. Now, the other thing, like I always tell you guys, is the second you get done putting all the flavors in, give that sucker a shake. Because then, now, again, pulling out my gloves because I'm about ready to handle my nicotine. I refuse to do that. I refuse to handle this nicotine, especially right now because I've got a small open spot on my thumb that I don't want. Yeah, I mean, there's certain ones, J. Jerry, that you can actually get away with a good high percentage. Now, Flavora and Capella, those two are normally stronger flavors, but your Flavor Wests, your TFAs, those normally have a weaker flavor to them, so you normally have to use a little more, simply because of the way the flavors are made. Then, I mean, there's certain flavors, you know, I'll be honest, there's a lot of flavor companies I refuse to use. I like using the top 4. Top 4 or 5 companies. Of course, 100 milligram nicotine in 100% VG has to be shook up. And you want to make sure it's thoroughly shaken. Actually, I do have one, Jerry. I will give you the link here in a second when I can hop on my Amazon. It's an AWS scale. It's actually one of the best for doing what we do, because it goes down to the hundredths. And I mean, honestly, in all the time I've done DIY, I've only had to have 2 scales in the whole time. And this one goes up to 500 milligrams, or 500 grams. And it's well worth it. Now, you see how cloudy that is. That is because of, 1, the nicotine, and 2, actually, the lemonade, even though it was clear over there, has caused it to cloud up. Because it interacts with some of the other flavors. But let me flip this back over to my main screen, and I'll go to Amazon and pull it up so that I can give you guys the link to the one that I personally recommend. And Jerry, it's good to see that you're actually feeling better after last night. I was starting to worry about you. I cannot wait until next week's Bruce and Jerry show, since you guys had to cancel last night. So, I'm very excited for next week's show. Okay, orders. Well, this one actually is not that expensive. It's only like $30, and in all honesty, it's an amazing scale for what you're paying for it. It really is. I mean, okay, 2017. So far, I'm going all the way back to 2017 for my scale. That is the last time I bought my scale. So what does that tell you guys? $2016. Okay, there it is. It's actually being sold right now for $24.99 on Amazon. So I'm going to copy this link and I will put it in the chat for anybody that wants to get it. Yeah, I mean, this is a good one. It has lasted me a long time. There is the one I actually use. You don't need the white bowl, which, you know what? Let me go ahead and flip over to the desktop. Right there is the one. It's the LB501 Digital Kitchen Scale. It's a 500 gram capacity, and actually it has 2 calibration weights that come with it that you can recalibrate it, and you can run it via being plugged in, you can run it off batteries. It's endless of how you can purchase it. But the best part is it is a Prime piece, so if you have Amazon Prime, you can get that for actually free 2-day shipping. Not a problem, Jerry. I'm glad to see anybody at any time moving over. Yeah, Jerry, I mean, you can get them cheaper. Yeah, Josh, I think didn't I give you guys the link to my DIY for beginners? Because I know I had that scale in the DIY for beginners that I did. Hey, Raven, good to see you. Hey, Caitlin, also good to see you. But yeah, I'm 90% sure that if I gave you guys the link... Probably, Josh, because I think I gave her the link to my DIY for beginners, and 9 times out of 10, I had that scale linked in my DIY for beginners. And, you know, that's why, you know, a lot of people when they're first starting, they just don't know where they're going. But that's why, you know, a lot of people when it comes to the palate, not understanding how to mix, you know, they just need a little bit of a helping hand. And that's why I started doing this. Oh, cool, Caitlin. I don't use that much Flavora, and I'm going to be honest why. Flavora is a very expensive flavor company. Like, the liquid that I made tonight, it costs me $3.57 for a 120. That's with nicotine and everything else. If I had Flavoras in there, it'd be $4 or $5 because of the price difference on Flavora liquids or Flavora flavors. Flavora can be expensive. That's why winning them, you did amazing. Yeah, I mean, what do you mean, Raven? So what FLV does have some good flavors? I mean, in all honesty, the only two sites I get my e-liquids off of, or my flavors off of, is Nicotine River or Bull City. As much as, you know, Nicotine River and I have bad blood over what happened at the New Year, they have amazing prices. I'm not going to pass that. Oh, yeah, they do have some good flavors. I can't bring myself to pay their prices. And right there, we have a strawberry lemonade. Well, Josh, good to see you. Hope you get to check the replay so that you can get that recipe better. But now, just to remind everybody, Jen and I are this week going to sit down and try to decide about Patreon so that I can start giving away some of these higher quality, well, not higher quality, but some of these that I have actually sold professionally through a company. I will be giving some of those away in some of the Patreons. So, just so you guys know, there is 4 of them that were professionals. And some of those that I actually make at home that I sell on the side, I'm going to give away on there too. So, because a lot of those I won't make here anymore. I'll be honest with you. Because I don't want just anyone having them. Plus, I'll be able to actually make them to where you guys have full access to it. Jerry, honestly, most of the time it depends on the flavors. I mean, because nicotine normally is what causes the change in the color because of the oxidization of the nicotine. But this is where it gets really technical. The composition of the flavors and the chemical compounds in the flavors, as they sit together for a longer time, they will actually break down themselves. I mean, let's see. Do I have anything that was zeroed? No, I do not. I was looking at... Oh, hold on. No, it don't look like I have any zeros. Because I used to make a lot of liquids in bigger containers. Like ones that I would vape a lot. Or ones that, for instance, somebody might... Like, because you know, guys, I sell some liquids on the side. It's my little side hustle that I do just for the fun of it. $25 donation gets you a 120 of the flavor. Duh. But, I mean, the thing is, what I used to do is, I used to pre-steep. Yeah, Jerry, that works, but the problem... And what I suggest doing if you're going to do that is decide what you're going to make. like, for instance, you want to make a... Let's use this Ronald's Strawberry Lemonade perfectly, okay? Let me pull up the desktop again. Okay, now you see how this is made. Now, when you use nicotine, what I normally do, as I've told you guys, the VG diluent, I really don't measure. I don't worry about the grams with that when I'm making a bottle. Because I just fill it up, I know how it fills, I know where it needs to fill to, and I get it filled perfectly. Now, if you're not adding the nicotine, and you don't want to change the flavor when you add the nicotine, what you will want to do is, every time you pour a bottle, you will want to pour out the exact amount of VG and flavorings. Yeah. You want to mix it. You'll want to basically subtract, if you're doing by weight, the 142.24, you'll want to subtract the 9.08 grams from that and add that exact amount to the bottle. That way you get that exact profile. Otherwise, you're going to have either too high of nicotine, not enough nicotine. It's going to screw it up drastically. Or you can just add the nicotine to the bottle and then pour in the flavor. You can do it either way. But in all honesty, I find it's easier to mix 100 milligram and 100% VG nicotine in the actual e-liquid. I find it's easier to mix it when you mix it with the flavors rather than having the full amount. Yeah, and see, Raven, that's the other thing I was going to say. When it comes to building that palate, the other thing you have to think of is what goes into the actual flavor. When I'm making a cheesecake, okay? When I made my first cheesecakes, I thought, okay, I've got the cheesecake and I've got the graham crust. That's your base. Then I add maybe a little bit of cream to make some whipped cream. I add a little bit of Bavarian cream to add the Bavarian cream flavor. And then whenever you're adding the topping, that's when you maybe add a little bit of sugar, because in your condensed item, you put a little bit of sugar with the fruit, and that's how you get the extra flavorings. You know, you just have to remember how you cook stuff. If you remember the ingredients you use to cook, you can normally make a perfect e-liquid. I mean, that's the easiest way to explain it. And if I'm running you crazy and you don't understand something, please feel free. Leave me a note in the comments or say something here. Oh, yeah, Jerry, I completely forgot. There you go, Jerry. You're now wrenched. I forgot. I've been trying to catch you on. Exactly, Raven. Baker's approach. Raven. Baker's approach, because that's what a lot of people don't get. But, I mean, you just have to act like a cook. I mean, that's how I got so good when it came to these flavors. You know, I've said this multiple times, but when I first started, I had been a chef for years, and I knew the flavors like the back of my hand, because I was actually a pastry chef. I did a lot of baking, and because of that, I had used these. Good, Caitlin. That's how you need to. And, I mean, use recipes online as a starting point. You know, every one of mine are normally good. Like, for instance, for any of you that were here the other day when I made my peaches and cream, as you see, look how well steeped that sucker is. That was on March 10th I made this. And let me tell you something. It came out amazing. So if you go back and watch the March 10th live show, you'll get the recipe for this peaches and cream. Yeah, it's a very pretty color. I love that color to it. And I mean, this lemonade that I made originally was based off of, I don't know how many of you remember when McDonald's had them, because for some reason here local, I have not seen them anymore. But this one was based off of the frozen strawberry lemonade that McDonald's used to have. Because I used to love to have that frozen strawberry lemonade, take maybe a quarter of it out, and then just let that sucker melt, and then just drink it. That's where this one came out of, was that frozen strawberry lemonade that Ronald McDonald had at McDonald's. But yeah, if I'm confusing anybody, please do not hesitate to stop me, because I'm trying to be as precise as I can and answer questions. And if you have a question, make sure to put it in the comments. I am more than happy to answer it. I'm going to try to check it out. And, you know, it's looking like, which, let me look at my schedule, and I'll tell you if we're definitely going to be doing this next Tuesday. Because, honestly, I like Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we're not getting a ton of people, but we're getting people, and it seems like people can actually make it. Because Sundays are just terrible for me, I'll be honest with you. Sundays when I was doing it was terrible. And yes, Raven, unless you're copying somebody's, stay to 3 flavors. That's why a lot of mine, if you notice, Raven, is only 4 flavors. A lot of mine stay with 4 flavors, unless they're the more complex flavors. But I'm going to look and see what my schedule is next Tuesday. Hopefully we'll be able to do this every Tuesday at 10. That's what I'd like to do, is get back on a schedule. And I apologize, honestly, to you guys. You know, it hasn't been that I've been trying to ignore you guys. It really hasn't been. I've had a lot going on at work. I come home. I haven't been sleeping because, for some reason... Yeah, I know that, but I've got to do it. And in all honesty, you know, wow, 13? I haven't made it to that many. I have not made it to that many. Okay, let's see what my schedule is next week. And I'll let you guys know when I'm going to do it next week. Okay, yeah, next week I'll be able to do it at 10 o'clock again on Tuesday, because I go in at 10 a.m. and I get off at 6:30. So I'll be able to get home, eat, and be ready by 10 p.m. and don't have to be back in till 11. So thank goodness I've got Saturday and Sunday off this week. Which, if any of you live near Charleston, West Virginia, which I don't think anyone does, but if you do, come over to the Mount Juliet United Methodist Church. There's going to be a vendor sale benefiting the class of 99's 20-year reunion. We're trying to make it as cheap as we can for everybody. So if you live near Charleston, West Virginia, come over to the Mount Juliet Baptist or United Methodist in Bell, West Virginia. I had to do a small shameless plug, guys. Sorry. But so we will be back again next Tuesday Let me know in the comments. I'm thinking of maybe doing a sweet tea next week, because I'm trying to get, anyway, a lot of mine that I like for the summer made now, so that they're starting to steep. And this sweet tea is another one that I've made for years, but was not one that I actually had in the Vapin Minuteman line when I went on with Smiley. This was one that we didn't have there, but I personally loved it. And I'll be honest, guys, I like my sweet tea like pancake syrup. I like it nice and thick, so thick you could use it as syrup for your pancakes. But, well, see, the thing is, Jay, I'd love to know some of the stuff that you guys would like to see. I mean, I don't want to be just picking all the recipes. I mean, I might even give a list of some ideas, which I'm thinking of. We're probably going to start using the community tab a lot more on this channel, so keep an eye on the community tab, because when it comes like Sunday or Saturday of the week before, we're going to have a DIY show, which hopefully we're going to start doing it weekly, and hopefully we get Jen hopping in here some. Hopefully we can get our buddy Jerry, once he's back out of the hospital. Ooh! That is a good idea, Raven. I never thought of that. That is a very good idea. I might have to try to figure out a recipe for that. Ooh. Well, Jerry, I actually have a good strawberry yogurt. It has been done on the channel. You'll just have to go back through some of my DIY shows and find it. But I have done a strawberry yogurt. What yogurt are you using, and what strawberry are you using? Because I know the yogurt I recommend, but I want to know what you're using. Raven. And next week, we'll even do a taste test of that lemonade that we just made today. Of that strawberry lemonade. So next week, we will do a taste test, which I want to get back to doing that. Do a taste test of the one done the week before, and then get into the new recipe as well. And, you know, especially since we're having a lot of newer people, I'd love to know some things that you would like to know. I'm trying to make these shows informative to where I can actually try to teach you something about DIY and not just telling you how I make my DIYs. Actually, the Capella creamy yogurt is amazing. And then the TFA Greek yogurt is amazing as well. I've made that one. Well, you might want, look right there, Jerry. That's the exact blue raspberry cotton candy I use. Yeah, Caitlin, you're going to like that creamy yogurt a lot better. I think, honestly, too, if you take that strawberry ripe and you buy sweet strawberry as well, divide it into two, and put it half and half, you may even get a better strawberry flavor. because that's what I do all the time. And I do mean all the time. And you know, guys, the thing is, these last few weeks has been crazy. And that's why a lot of our shows have not been showing. I mean, like, for instance, Jerry's in the hospital. Like he just said, he's laying in a hospital bed right now. He was feeling sick. He was sick yesterday, so Bruce didn't want to come on his own. Then, you know, with everything that's been going on with Jen, she's been doing a lot of the research. I've been doing some, but not all. So because of my schedules, I don't really feel comfortable a lot of times talking about something if I have not done enough of the research myself. So a lot of times, you know, I don't do the show because I don't feel comfortable coming out talking about something unless I'm going to be able to tell you. And you're going to learn with me, if you haven't already learned it, I am a glass half full person. I am not like a lot of people, a glass half empty. I look at things to try to always find a positive. I always try to find a positive. And I'm going to tell you what I think, if it's a positive or not. You know, if I think there's a positive to something, I'm going to tell you that. But yeah, Jerry, you know, check over on, I don't know, Nicotine River said they were stopping to carry Sweet Strawberry. If they don't have it, check out, Bull City Vapor. They normally carry Capella Sweet Strawberry. Let me go over to my site and see, to Nicotine River, and see if they have it still. Or see if people complained enough that they went ahead and kept it. Because I was surprised when they told me they were no longer carrying it. I haven't bought from there since October. Wow. Yeah, see, I haven't shopped much DIY vapor supply. Just because, you know, I try to focus on these two sites that I know have amazing shipping. So, let's see. Yeah, they still have Capella Sweet Strawberry. They have the RF, which is the reduced flash point. I don't know how well that is going to be. I don't know if it's going to change the flavor. It might. So, and they have regular Capella Sweet Strawberry too. And they have it back in 4-ounce bottles. Yes. See, that's the thing. Now let's see about Strawberry Ripe. Yeah, and then they still have Flavor Apprentice Strawberry Ripe. I might have to start buying that in 500 milliliter bottles. Because I just bought this in October, and look at that. It's already almost gone. And I have not made that many strawberry flavorings. Because right now, Flavor Apprentice Strawberry Ripe in a 500 ml bottle is $25.69. Which that's not bad for 500 mils. For Capella, Sweet Strawberry and 500, it's $46. That I don't know if I could pull, to be honest with you. I don't know if I could pull that out of my ass or not. I'd probably have to cancel a vape box 1 month to do that. And just so everybody knows, my vape box is on its way. Oh, by the way, you know, I said this during the two videos, but how are you guys liking the out and about videos that I've started? I'm just curious. Now we're just shooting the shit. So now I'm just talking because I have a lot of questions and people haven't been commenting, so I'm asking the questions. Do you guys like the new methods? I'm still going to do some in the studio. I'm going to get back to reviewing. Trust me, I miss it. And there's a crap ton I'm supposed to get reviewed. But hey, you have to admit, it was a good April Fool's joke. I could not resist. When I saw that, I was like, you would not. Yeah, you know, that's the thing, J. Jerry. I wanted to make some changes, and let me eject this so I can show you what I went and bought. It's currently in use? How is it currently in use? It's not even turned on. Well, maybe it's not even... Okay, it didn't say anything, so... Right here is the mobile recording studio. That's all it is. It's just a small little Sony Handycam. And let me tell you something, this sucker works amazingly. I used the mic that was already built into it and loved it. So I hope you guys like the way I'm changing stuff. I'm going to go ahead and head out of here, guys. If you got any questions, again, please feel free, put them in the comments. And, you know, hopefully this week we'll be able to get a NVR Live. Hopefully Jen's going to be able to do it. I have not heard. If she's not, there is a lot of news that I want to be able to talk about. So I may do one on my own. And, you know, Raven and I'm sure Hellhound, both of you are welcome. Any of the friends that pop in here ever so often, you're welcome. If anybody ever... Jerry, you're welcome to hop in. Same with Bruce. Anybody that wants to hop in when I do them, you're more than welcome. But we are heading out of here, guys. We will see you guys next time. I'm out. Oh, no, we got to do it. You got to fight for your right to vape. Yeah, baby. Now I'm out.
Nobody panics when things go according to plan. Even if the plan is horrifying, nobody panics. Because it's all part of the plan. Well, then everyone loses their minds.
Hey, if you like what you've seen here, there's much more to come. Just click one of the 2 boxes up here in the corner. And you know what? If you've liked it, make sure to subscribe. Just click the little button right there. Talk to you later, guys.